Welcome to Dial It In, a podcast where we talk with fascinating people about marketing, sales, process improvements, and tricks that they use to grow their businesses. Join me, Dave Meyer, and Trygve Olsen of BusyWeb as we bring you interviews on how the best in their fields are dialing it in for their organizations. Let's ring up another episode.
Oh, we're back.
We are. I'm excited.
That was a whirlwind in the last episode.
It was one of my favorites of all time because Dan Tyre, as the godfather of sales and HubSpot, he talks even more than you do, Trygve. It was so fun watching you try to get a word in edgewise.
How many questions did we ask? 2?
1.5.
In a 45-minute podcast?
Yeah, and for our guest benefit, we got 45 minutes in, and so we're like, so first question.
Second question number 2.
Always good.
I think I'm going to be tripping over my words for a completely different reason this week, but we'll get into that in a second. Do we have a sponsor for today?
We do, actually. We're sponsored today by WeFixHubSpot.com. Is your HubSpot portal cluttered and inefficient? WeFix HubSpot, powered by BusyWeb, specializes in customizing and optimizing your HubSpot experience. Our team of certified experts offers tailored solutions, including training, re-onboarding, architecture reviews, and data restructuring in the universe of loop marketing, ensuring your portal aligns perfectly with your business needs. Don't let a disorganized system slow you down. Go to WeFixHubSpot.com to schedule your complimentary consultation and start transforming your HubSpot portal today.
Today's guest, I think, I have this whole bio that is long and extensive. I certainly can read, but I met this person 6 years ago in 2019 at HubSpot's Inbound conference. And I didn't know who she was. And I read the blurb and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go there. And then I saw her walk on stage and I immediately went snarky. Who on earth is this person? She had this like leopard print skirt on with a t-shirt, and she had like these hula hoop earrings, and because earrings are her thing. And oh my God, and I'm in love with her earrings, and I have been ever since I met her. And she's African American, and she's got short hair, and I'm just like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm here for it. And then over the next 45 minutes, my jaw progressively dropped, and I fell in work love with her because of how she approaches selling and sales and who she is as a person. And I have been a utter devotee ever since then, because as I teach classes and how to sell, people say, who are your sales heroes? She is first on the list. When you think of the devil and the fairy godmother on your shoulder when you try to make decisions, she is who I think of. And I literally think about her like 3 times a day as I'm trying to decide when the prospects are getting lippy, how I'm going to respond. Because she's amazing. I'm in love with her. I love her mind. I love her shoes. I love her earrings. All right. I can go on and on. Liz Simpson is our guest today. She's a nationally recognized B2B sales and thought leadership strategist who has trained more than 20,000 professionals, including people who have appeared on this podcast, graduated over 1,000 accelerator participants, and influenced more than $250 million in new business. As the founder of Stimulus, Liz helps organizations earn trust, build authority, and close bigger deals faster. She is recognized by LinkedIn. This is where it's going to get lengthy because it's pretty long. She's recognized by LinkedIn as one of the top 15 sales influencers. She is a LinkedIn sales insider. Her insights have been featured on NBC, CBS, NPR, and Essence. She is also a HubSpot Inbound fellow, a sales hacker. She is a top female sales speaker, and she is also the recipient of numerous awards. Got to take a breath to get through this next part, including San Antonio Business Journal's 40 Under 40, Nowbo's Women Business Owner of the Year, and it's only 2 things, but I'm sure it's longer. Liz, she's passionate about equipping leaders to thrive in the modern workplace by aligning thought leadership with practical sales enablement. Ladies and gentlemen, my sales fairy godmother, Liz Simpson.
Thanks for having me. That has to be best intro ever. How am I going to do an interview when I'm going to be cracking up the time?
I don't claim the comedy's good, just that there's plenty of it.
Liz, we do offer services where we'll offer an audio sound clip for use in before any of your upcoming events. I think that would be a good lead up to.
Gosh,
Oh, so
sold already. Like we've just started and I've already been sold the service. And I'm buying, by the way. I'm buying that.
I'm just so happy you're here. Dave, ask her
I'm
something.
so
Ask her something intelligent while I retain my composure.
I'm so honored. Thank you both. I appreciate it. I appreciate the invite, the introduction. You really have been such an advocate and champion for me. We've talked privately. Like, I genuinely appreciate you, how you show up in the world, and your support. So I'm honored to be on this podcast. Let's go.
Aww.
Amazing.
I'm going to...
Well, it's delightful to meet you. And Trygve and I were talking a little bit before the show, and I said, I swear I've seen Liz before. Have we been on a podcast or something together? And I placed it. I was at the same inbound talk that Trygve was, and we were both blown away and sharing notes across the room. And so I'm so delighted to have you with us. A lot has changed since 2019, though. So tell us what's new in your sales coaching, in your world, and I know there's so many different approaches now and so much more data. How do you think we've changed in the past 6 years?
Yeah. Wow. So many things to bring up. When you were asking that, the first thing that came to mind is that as much as changed, so much stays the same. The crux of the work that I do and the focus has always been that in order to be great salespeople, we have to be obsessive about human behavior and we have to step up our business acumen. If I'm going to be a trusted advisor, if I'm going to lead the sales process, that's not something I pretend to do. That actually means that I have the business acumen and insights to deliver value in a conversation. Additionally, I can adopt right setup thinking, meaning that I understand how humans make decisions and I can empower you and lead you through this decision by understanding your psychology. And that's still the same. And human beings are still trying to catch up to figure out how to do that. What I think is different in 2025 is that now AI can accelerate that. That used to be a process where it was really challenging for a lot of individuals. How do I shore up business acumen? What type of research do I have to do? What circles do I need to be in? What books do I need to read so that I can mirror the type of language and communication of my ideal buyers? Now you can put in a great prompt and AI can feed you what to say, right? Or it can help give you the resources to shore up your knowledge. So it's going to be really interesting to see how technology is applied to enable sales professionals to grow their acumen and to improve their communication. But to me, at the core, we're still chasing the same things.
Yeah, I love, and the basics are absolutely all the same and more important than ever, I think, because it's easy to get lazy if the AI is doing most of the work, right? So real human connection can't be faked.
Right, 100%. But I do think the other piece, I work with a lot of experts who hate the idea of selling. They're still in denial. That's what they're doing in business, which is hilarious to me. So while I'll say we were just talking about before about some HubSpot, it's new AI tools and technologies and agents and things that it's releasing. And so what's really cool is the ability to really have these just-in-time insights that AI can support with, because for my individuals, like my doer sellers who are in denial of sales, they don't want to claim to be salespeople, they have these insights, they have the expertise, but they're just bogged down. And it's okay, if I have these many prospects, if I have these many clients, how do I provide these just-in-time insights? How do I execute on a sales playbook if I have so much on my plate? And so I'm super excited about, for the people who are willing to do the work, about how now you can program it in a way to add value to clients at scale. Like the idea of a broadcast email that is customized per prospect is like beyond next level. I'm so excited.
Okay, I've caught up. I've got my...
Are you with us?
I got my legs under me. Oh, okay. Something's been troubling me all year. And so this season of selling that we're doing is I'm bringing together all the people that I really respect and I really have been mentored or learned from. And obviously you're on that list. And so my question is this to start with, on the macro level, and Dave, thank you for letting me catch my breath a little. In a world that we're in where half of the population literally hates you for who you are and what you believe, And then half of the world is overwhelmed by the machine gun noise of people using AI poorly.
Yeah.
How on earth are we really supposed to sell effectively anymore?
Yeah, I think we make things harder than they are. Like, is there going to be a day that AI surprises us or echoes us so well that we're confused by it? Probably, but we're nowhere near there. No one's AI has ever tricked me yet. Like,
Yeah,
I see it. I see it. We're not there. So I don't think those are true problems. I just think people who are not very skilled are great at excuses each year. Like you and I, come on, let's talk about it. Every year there's a new advancement that all of a sudden it's like the state of sales is disrupted. No, it's just mediocre people continue to be disrupted. Learn the basics. So I'm a mom. I have a 20-year-old and an 8-year-old. And my son played basketball when he was younger. And it was really interesting because when we started out, when he was in elementary school and they're playing basketball, it's as a parent, you're trying to support, but no one's making baskets. And we're just there watching these kids like throw balls everywhere. But there was something about mastery of fundamentals. Like when you're young, like I should not be trying to do half court shots at 8. That's fun. But really, I should be learning, like, what are the proper skills and fundamentals to master the game? And then what's interesting is then when I watched him play basketball in high school, the best students were the ones who mastered fundamentals. Because I'm skilled at taking shots, now I can take a half court shot because that's my form's on point. Like, it's all mastery of fundamentals. I think there are a lot of salespeople or a lot of times in the industry, people are chasing half court shots. So every year there's a new half court shot. Every year there's a new crossover and people are like, the market's disrupted. But the professionals who've always mastered fundamentals, they're always going to be light years ahead because I've already had fundamentals. So now when there's a new advancement, I know how to apply the advancement to the fundamentals, right? And so when you talk about half the people possibly being polarized by your viewpoint and identity, and then half the people are just overwhelmed, like there is something about truth and authenticity and consistency and omnipresent that always pierces through the noise. Do I know who I am? Do I know who I'm talking to? Am I speaking their language? Am I on the channels that they're looking for? Am I showing up consistently? Is my brand presence alignment? Am I true to who I am? Because I can only show up consistently as who I am. Am I adding value? Am I speaking about the concerns that are top of mind for them and that are priority? And am I providing enough value where they're like, yes, I will give you time, not because it's about 30 minutes, but because I trust that whatever you're going to provide in that time is going to help me move the needle. Like we're still there. Nothing's changed from my perspective.
And I think the 1A of that is that I think really good salespeople understand and really bad salespeople don't, is if you're going to put yourself out there, you're going to get hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to just roll with it. And yeah. We had an opportunity at Busy Web earlier this year where we did a full-blown pitch and they went dark. And so I did my go-to move, which is I got 3 dozen donuts and I drove them down to the office and I was like, hey guys, I got food. Who wants to talk?
Yeah.
And then they took the donuts, shared them with everybody, and then 3 weeks later said, yeah, we don't want to work with you because we thought that was rude that you came down to our office with food. I was like, but you took the donuts.
Interesting.
So once I got past the funk of who doesn't like donuts,
yeah,
of course you're going to take the donuts. But I have learned now that said more about them than it did about me.
100%. And I was thinking about that, and I'm not trying to speak for your pockets at all at Busy Web, but I do think about that. Even before we hit record, I was cracking up. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this podcast? Every organization, we have a culture, we have an ethos, right? If you don't have a sense of humor, like you took the donuts, you ate them. I don't know if that was the deal breaker for you, then honestly, maybe you did me a favor.
Yeah.
And that's
cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's what probably happened, Trygve. It was just an extended carb crash. So, they were just grumpy after they were tired.
I didn't get great donuts. Normally I get really good donuts.
I think that's what it is.
I just got Dunkin' because I was short on time and I had to go through the drive-thru. And if that was the thing, it was like, hey, you cheaped out on the donuts. Oh, okay. Yeah. I can understand that. But I think the challenge is and how I go back to my Liz training is it's the discipline of showing up every day.
Yeah.
And doing the thing. You might be doing it by yourself and you might not be seeing something, but then what's going to happen is 9 months later, somebody's going to say that thing that you said really made a difference for me.
Absolutely. For me, that's the power of numbers and KPIs and focusing on effort as sales professionals, right? Like, I literally remember, incorporating Go for No in the book. And I was like, what is this tiny Go for No book like that we're having a whole day training about? But that was something that was eye-opening for me. I am going for the no. If you have 100% close conversion, you're doing it wrong.
Yep.
And I have entrepreneurs, like solopreneurs. Yeah, I have 100% close conversion, and they think that's awesome. I'm like,
no, you don't.
What are you doing? And so we know that. We know, and depending on what your conversions are, right? Okay, this 30 to 50% conversion is great. That means I'm signing up for so many no's. So I'm heads down, facing my no's so that I can get to the yeses. But yeah, and then dealing with businesses. There's so many things that I find in coaching individuals that they assign meaning to, and their meaning is completely off, right? Maybe that person who had an issue with the donuts was a bad actor in the organization that doesn't reflect everyone else. And then that person turns over and the organization's actually, we thought that was cool, right? So like we waste too much time assigning narratives to things when people aren't spending that much time thinking about us.
So what are some of the best ways you've heard people say no? Or to say the bad actors, the silly ways people have not lost business? Because you are such a coach and people have got to tell you just fantastic stories.
Yeah, I get interesting ones. To be honest, most people are not forward with their no's. The most painful no's are the ones you don't get.
Yeah.
Like the person who ghosts you. I think that's the most painful because you create narratives around what happened. Like at least you got closure. Like kind of sucks, but honestly, that's a gift. Like I'm one of those people like, give me my no quick and fast. If don't belabor it. If this is not aligned, give it to me. But yeah, I think the biggest ones are just have the conversation, or the ones who like, we're going to talk. And then they're like, give us a couple weeks. And then we're talking again. And now we're meeting. And then they just ghost them. I think those are just the most painful ones. But I don't know that I have the crazy stories around how they say no per se.
I'm going to go on my soapbox, my soapbox for a second, because that's one of the things that I think people genuinely don't understand. If you have a salesperson who's even moderately good, they're going to be task oriented and they're going to be follow up oriented. So if you say, call me in 2 weeks, they're going to call you in 2 weeks because that, from the sales side, that's exhibiting trust. You said 2 weeks, I waited 2 weeks. And then if you don't answer again, that's on you. That's not on them. And that might be a thing. You might be overwhelmed. The prospect might not have an opportunity to talk to you, but don't just keep pushing people down, because what's invariably going to happen is the concept of sales karma, I 100% believe in, is if you need something from other people and you're not giving in response, then you are going to get tagged and you are going to lose out down the road because the universe tends to even itself out.
I agree. And I actually, my last coaching call last night, I was just talking to someone who it's like this $168,000 deal. And so she talked to CEO, CFO. They've said yes verbally 3 times. And what they wanted to do is announce it to the team. And then they already have invoice contract to execute. And so they've given all these verbal yeses, but it's a big deal for her. So she's excited. She's scared to be excited. She's, Liz, they haven't signed, paid invoice. This is what's happened. Should I celebrate? And this has been a couple months of communication and touch points, etc. And so what I told her is, I'm like, I trust people at what they say. I'm not saying celebrate the deal, but she was like, should I do this and this? I'm like, I operate under the assumption that you're going to do what you said you're going to do. And if you're going to do something else as an adult, I would hope that you would take agency to be a person of your word and say you're going down a different direction. And so she's like worrying about it, but I'm like, the CEO, the CFO said that what they're going to do. And I would hope that people would operate in integrity. And so far, they haven't shown themselves to be people who say they do one thing and operate in a different lens. But I do hope leaders know that. If it's a no, say no. If you're not sure if it's happening in 2 months, say that. If you give me a verbal yes, then be a person of your word and integrity. And that's a relationship. Like, especially with my clients, there's so many are service providers and consultants. I 100% think sales is a 2-way street.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to chase you. Like, I really operate as if the moment that you execute this agreement and pay this invoice, I am rolling up my sleeves and I have skin in the game and I am delivering on the transformation and the outcome that we agreed upon. I understood the challenges, the culture, and I am really racking my brain of how can I be a great partner to achieve this effort. So I want to know that you are going to respect this relationship as well. And part of that integrity is, and I even was telling her, I'm like, when there's delays, I don't go into a narrative of they're not going to pay or work with me. Literally, I was like, are they struggling with the communication plan for their team? Should that be something you offer? Should you be part of that meeting? Because I don't have time to worry about you not being who you say you are. I'm going to trust that's who you say you are. And then I'm going to think about, as a sales professional, how can I be a better partner? Should that been a part of our scope? Should the change management, should the rollout been a part of our scope? So that's how I think about it. And yeah, for those listening who are buyers, know that great professionals and partners, that's what we're doing on our end. So don't waste our time if that's not where you're at in the process.
When does selling stop?
Never. You're always selling, right? The name of the game is retention and expansion. Every conversation I have is just like, one of my pet peeves with like clients when they're like, this was a coffee chat. This was a discovery call. This was I'm like, everything's discovery. It's how you communicate. That's how I communicate in life. If I'm talking to a girlfriend, I'm like, hey, what's going on? What you been up to? How can I support you? How's that working for you right now? Girl, what are you trying to get achieved in the next 6 months? Like that is, as sales professionals, my belief, like in order to do this well, it has to be how you communicate all the time. I'm always asking discovery questions. I'm always trying to understand how I can roll up my sleeves and partner alongside people. And if that's what you view sales to be, which is how I view it, I'm trying to be a trusted advisor and partner in every place that I find myself. Then I'm always selling. Because and especially as business owners, every day my business is morphing and changing shape and new challenges are showing up. And if we really are in the business of being trusted advisors and partners, that means every day that I haven't spoken to my clients, something could be changing that I could be the solution for.
Yeah.
I love that. And the most important thing that I'm hearing is that it's less about trying to game the system or work a number, and it's more about just being an empathetic helper, problem solver. What you're genuinely interested and invested in your mutual success. So why wouldn't you want to pick up the phone and check in with your friend, right?
Yeah.
Even if that friend happens to be a client, and even if they pay you money, that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where a lot of, especially younger sales folks, get into trouble. They're like, I hate trying to trick people into. It's like, well, we're not trying to trick people. You're trying to listen and empathize and come to a solution together. It's like, why wouldn't we want to have that kind of a conversation?
100%. And I think where a lot of, if you talk about younger professionals might get tripped up, is I think that's where business acumen is important. Because I remember that I have felt the sleaziest in sales roles where I didn't really know the map of my buyer's world. I only knew the specs on a piece of paper and how much the widget costs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking questions, but I don't know how to navigate these questions. I don't know how your answers might inform a different product or a different service. So like the benefit of business, like if you can take business acumen and great skills, they're a perfect match. But if I give you questions in a process and you don't really have the business acumen to know, oh, if they say that, that means this is happening. Or I read this report and here's how this report translates to my buyer's world, then everything is fake. Like we're giving people discovery call questions who don't know how to navigate the answers to them. So I do think that's what's important.
As we're talking about things that irritate me in terms of authenticity, I think one of the things that the last part of that whole cycle is if I'm going to be authentic with you and genuinely try and figure out how you can solve a problem and you say no, okay, I'm fine with that. I'm going to walk away because I'm a professional and I'm a grown up and I don't mind having my feelings hurt. But I realized this recently that I called a couple of people that I really got along with, and because I said I wanted to know how they solved the problem. It wasn't because I wanted to win or because I wanted, but they wouldn't talk to me. They'd ghost me. And like then you're you're putting everyone into that transactional framework, and you are giving yourself the opportunity to actually be better and be curious about what comes next. And I think that's just completely losing it. So the second question I wanted to ask you, question number 2, famous question number 2, with 26 minutes and I did it. One of the things that you do, Liz, is you help solo entrepreneurs and people who are starting business learn how to be sellers and to promote themselves. And we talked a lot about authenticity. One of the things that I think everybody really has trouble learning in their selling career is how to say no to people and when it's a bad fit for somebody.
Yeah.
I can think of all sorts of great examples when somebody says, I'll reinvest down the road if this works out, if you do it for free. That's a red flag for me. No, danger, Will Robinson, or things like that. So walk us through, what are some ways people need to be better at saying no to money?
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to act like I have a masterclass on this. I probably spent over a decade failing at this. What do we call it? Commission breath. Like I definitely sure I have funky commission breath.
That's what we're going to call it now.
Man, commission breath is funky. But I will say for me, I didn't connect the dots until I was really a part of an organization where fulfillment, product, service delivery helped me to understand the cost. Because for a large part of my sales career, I sold it and moved on. Like I'm a hunter. I'm hunting, drop it, there you go, pay me my commission, I hit my quota, go on to the next. And I think that's the challenge when there's not a function within an organization that ensures all teams understand each other's roles and how they impact each other. So I'd say I didn't really, probably being pleasant about it, but yeah, it was me having access to a fulfillment team who chewed me out on 2 or 3 clients that were just WTF, like serving them is a nightmare. We shouldn't be servicing them. But honestly, to be fair, leadership didn't feel that way. So that was, right? So I had leadership is you're hitting your numbers, but I have other team members who are like, this is negatively impacting us. And that was the pattern disrupt for me because I'm like, wait a minute, I'm hitting my sales numbers, but maybe it's not good. Why? So that began. That's one part of the beginning. I'll also say, I don't know that when I was like purely sales, prospecting, and closing, I don't know that I was being trained on say no. That's not, I really can't think of roles where they were just like, it was like, are you hitting quota? Not, does that make sense? Like no one was slapping my hands. I didn't think about it until that happened. Now it's different because now I run a business and I say no a heck of a lot. Now I'm not like, please.
Yep.
Don't bring them here. Like they're gonna bury us. And it took someone saying something to me and being like, okay, I'll be held accountable. Help me understand how this impacts the business, and understanding to some degree on a high level how it can negatively impact a business. But I didn't get the masterclass until I ran a business. And I understood that the time and energy, the number of inbox emails, the number of touch points, like literally being able to put a dollar sign to how much it costs me to serve the wrong clients. Mm-hmm. They're not going to refer me. They're going to complain. There's going to be scope creep. They're going to go outside of our capabilities. My team's going to be drained. It's going to impact culture. They're going to email us 3 times more than a normal client. So now that I contextually understand that, I'm like, for all of that time, I probably could have brought in 2 of my dream clients if we said no. And so I understand that better now. And I'll be honest, I train entrepreneurs on that, but that is normally one of those lessons like children where they have to learn on their own. And it just becomes, oh, I remember you told me that.
Yeah.
Right.
But everyone wants to find out for themselves.
It's like the entire sales process is, to me, is like baseball pitching. You are on your own and you can win or lose a game by yourself. And the entirety of it is learned by callousing over and making mistakes, going, I'm not going to do that again. Like, I'm still going to bring donuts to people, but just not to those people. Jeez.
I don't think there's a lesson in that at all.
I don't either. I think that's it gets back to the Maya Angelou idea. They showed me who they were.
Oh, yeah. People, don't forget what you say.
And there's all sorts of legitimate reasons to say no to somebody, but because I brought you donuts is not one of them.
Absolutely not.
So tell us about Stimulus and about your training program. We literally had somebody on 6-9 months ago, a woman named Rebecca who lives here in Minnesota.
Oh, good part.
Yeah,
Oh.
see? And I was mentioning about how I had a sales fairy godmother. And she's, is it me? I was like, no, it's not. It's this woman named Liz. Me too.
I adore Rebecca.
Everybody adores Rebecca. So tell us about your program and about Stimulus.
Yeah. So the Clarence Stimulus is a lot of what we talked about. We focus on helping professional service firms, so like experts who are selling their services to organizations. We help them close bigger deals and help them with thought leadership marketing. So that's the core of what we do. We do it through many different ways, right? Training, coaching, workshops, etc. One of the core programs I have, which referencing Rebecca, gosh, it's been like 5 years now. So during COVID, women accounted for 100% of the job losses. And I wanted to do something level the
What? Is that true?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. In the US during COVID, women accounted for 100% of the job losses. And so, so that's what led to during COVID at the time, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a call once a month just to help empower women, like to grow their businesses. And that one call a month turned into a global movement that just took over my life for a few years. And so what we created was an accelerator program where in the accelerator program, we taught them everything from positioning, how to sell to organizations, how to package, ROI-based pricing, marketing. And so we would take often solo consultants from idea to 6-figure corporate deals in 6 to 12 months, which at the time, the stat was less than 12% of women-owned firms achieved 6 figures in a year. So we were creating massive impact because we had women closing 6-figure deals in a matter of months, which is why we were called the 12%. So Rebecca is one of my favorite stories and someone who makes me very happy.
Oh, excellent. I'm sure she'll be happy to hear that. So, what is big money?
Man, big money is money that's larger than you. It's money that creates impact, right? It's where you shift from scarcity and I can cover my bills, I can cover my 401k to I have enough overflow and abundance to create changes in my community, to give to social causes, to hire teams. So oftentimes we're thinking about just getting by, but bigger money is, no, it's not about you. If you have the skills and expertise to create impact, then make as much money as you can, not because it's about you, but because it's about overflow.
See, Dave, when I talk about big money,
I like it. I get it now.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Because that was when I saw her originally. She was wearing a t-shirt that said big money motivation. I'm like, what is the 2005 Honda Civic that this woman is going to sell me? And then she changed my life.
I love it. Yes. I just think that they say there's so many people who want to do good. And I was just telling someone that for me, I didn't believe in Santa Claus, but I know like kids who like believed in Santa Claus and they found out Santa Claus wasn't real. And it was like earth shattering. Like, I know, I'm so sorry. This is horrible because I think you might.
Andy, we're going to have to edit that.
So like that moment where you're like, what? And it's earth shattering. And the world has been lying to me. And the things that I believe to be true aren't true. What else are they not telling me? Santa Claus wasn't that thing for me. But what it was for me is like, I loved history and like legendary people who created impact and like in music and culture and art and Nobel Prize winners and all these amazing distinctions. And I literally thought we lived in a world where the smartest people were the most successful and made the most money. Like I thought life works. Like I'm the smartest, I create a lot of impact. So then I live a life of abundance. And I realized that a lot of the most significant heroes in our history died broke and without financial legacy. And that was there's no Santa Claus moment. Like, what is wrong with humanity that you could do so much good and not have enough to take care of your family or things of that nature? And so at the crux of what I do, that's big money. Who are the people who are doing good and changing lives and creating transformations? Who are the organizations that are creating advancements for our society? And how do we make sure that they're getting equitable compensation based off of the impact they're creating for our world?
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to reject the premise of what you just said, because Santa Claus, of course, exists because I see it in every Hallmark movie that I'm forced to watch. And he is the hometown guy who's surprisingly ruggedly handsome, who was there all along. But secondly, I think I have an 11-year-old who still believes in, and we're getting a little sketchy with the believing. He's starting to cry. Dad, don't tell me, but tell me, but don't tell me. I think that in anything you do, and my second comment, which I'm dovetailing in here, is that I think one of the most important lessons that I learned in life is from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, where he says the word enough is the most enigmatic word in the English language because it means something different to everyone.
Woof.
And going back to my son, as I'm trying to figure out, yes, we're reaching that point where he's probably going to know, and I'm hoping that he's just going to be a bro about it, not actually ask me literally the question. But I think of it more in terms of creating magic for people and doing the things that behind the scenes that suddenly the opportunity drops in somebody's lap. Suddenly, all of a sudden, the thing drops in your lap. And that if you do all of these little things and you have this sales discipline that I learned from Stimulus, is all sorts of good things happen. And maybe it's Anna, and maybe it's you, and here's my third completely mixed analogy is there's a great line from the TV show Yellowstone where one of the guys says, karma takes a lot of different forms, and today it's me.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I agree. I say that all the time when I'm talking. We call IPAs your income producing activities. When I'm training and coaching clients on it, it's about momentum. And I do believe that it might be the 50 actions that you take, or it might just be the reward for the 50 actions you take. Either way, regardless, take the steps.
All right. I'm writing that income producing because IPA means something different to me and Dave.
Okay. Got it. I think I followed on the drink.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to avoid that now because I'm.
Are you really?
Yeah. Well, the IPAs anyway. I like income producing activity.
Yeah. Now I'm like 10 years ago, I thought Michelob Ultra was stupid. Now I was like, yeah, this is actually a good thing.
Right. Liz, a big part of what you do in your business seems to be around thought leadership and really bridging a path and building a brand on who you are. And I know that's a big part of the coaching that you do. So for, let's call them mid-tier salespeople that are really trying to make a name and have things get easier by being bigger, can you give us some tips on how to become that thought leader?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely think it's a team activity, right? It starts with the organization's positioning. Right. So what are the core values of the organization? What's their positioning? And then where is their alignment between the beliefs of the organization and my own beliefs? Because as sales professionals, we're building a brand that fits underneath the umbrella of the organization, if that makes sense. So literally, we're looking at, okay, what are the pillars, core values, and positioning of the organization? What's your viewpoint? How do you approach things? What's your personal brand? And then where's their congruency within these two? And then that's what we double dial on, right? So there might be posts that are emotional and they humanize you. But of course, most of the posts should be about what brings value to the ideal buyer. So if I had a team of sales professionals, then maybe 60% of the content is something that could be disseminated to the team. But it's like that 40%, the viewpoint, the unique point of view of team members that they would add in as well. And depending on, obviously, this varies based on the makeup of the organization. A lot of our clients, our marketing efforts are like executive roundtables or master classes or hosting events or white papers or things of that nature. So on one hand, a lot of thought leadership is going to come from the organization, but we call it market ecosystem. So how we look at it is most marketers, we do the same thing. We just call it different vocabulary, right? So for us, we're looking at, okay, what's the market ecosystem of our buyer? What are the channels that our buyer uses? Publications, what events do they attend? What books are they reading? Who are the centers of influence? And then for each individual, not only is it your personal brand, but it's like, what are the 2 to 3 channels that you're focusing on to create omnipresence with the mind of your buyer? So then the thought leadership is going to vary by that channel. So we have some who are like, maybe theirs is industry events. Maybe there's someone they're hosting workshops on behalf of their organization. Then we're trying to figure out, how do we take the insights from the organization, but also instill your personal brand new flavor, right? So for Trygve is, oh my gosh, we cannot have this stark, boring, right? We would have to infuse who you are and your humor into it, which this podcast is brilliant. This podcast is a channel, right? And from that, people can then see the different nuances and personalities, build affinity for them, but you all are both operating with distinct personal brands under one umbrella. And I don't know if I answered your question, but that's really
my thesis of how I approach thought leadership is, that's a terrible idea. What time are we leaving?
Absolutely.
Because if maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's not. Some of the things that I've come across in my life are what I think are the dumbest ideas ever. But there's a million ways to make a living in America, and none of them are wrong.
Man, it's funny you say that, because one of the questions we ask in positioning, I'd literally say, is like, what pisses you off? I have learned so much more about my identity. This is so dumb. To your point, like, why are we doing this? Why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep talking about this? Actually, I'm annoyed that you asked the question. Let me give you a better question to ask. So yeah.
What's your favorite dumb thing that we've ever had to do, Dave?
Oh, and these are all related to Trygve, so I love all of them. But at one point, I think Trygve was 3 weeks in working with BusyWeb, and Trygve's been with us more than a decade.
Oh, is this the butt heater?
It is.
All right.
So,
okay.
So we had this wonderful, very nice person come into the office, and she was very excited about her brand new product and wanted to try and get us bought in to help her do something for free for her, to blah, 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 right? So we had the conversation, and she grabs this big bag. Is okay, this is going to change your life. And Trygve was, okay, game on. And so she proceeds to pull out this sort of chair thing. And what it was basically a butt microwaver. So it emitted some sort of EMPs or something to warm up and loosen up your back and do all these things. But it was literally, when we got down to brass tacks, it was a butt microwave. And Trygve was a good sport. We didn't wind up working with that person because it was just a little too wackadoo. Well, there's so many. And as a salesperson, you've got to roll with it. And your job is to be empathetic and to help them find a way. Sometimes we have to help them find a way out of their goal because it's completely silly.
Yeah.
Like, you probably would have been responsible for cancer across the Midwest, especially
like really tanned heinies. Just so many more people with really more of a nice orange hue on their butt. I think my favorite was a guy who made me sign an NDA, which is that's usually a red flag for me if you sign an NDA, because it means you're not really confident in your product. And then I signed the NDA, and his big whole pitch was, as people get older and they go into nice restaurants, they're gonna with the nice lighting, the down lighting, and the smooth jazz, they can't read the menu. So what his big product was is he figured out a way to put an LED light on the bottom of a salt shaker, so then you could pick it up and scan the menu like you were Indiana Jones spelunking on a date. And I mentioned to him, it's considered bad luck if you throw salt over your shoulder. So you're doing this with salt, and at a date you keep throwing salt on the guy behind you.
You probably really did say this.
I really did say this.
100%. I was in the room. It was brilliant.
So you're going to be salting the food of the guy behind you while you're trying to read the menu. And he goes, no, we're going to have a special cover on it, so that you put the cover on the salt shaker, so that when you hold it up, it's like, but then when you want to salt your food, you're going to take it, go, and then all of a sudden salt's going to get over your plate. No, we've solved for that. And I was like, I wish you the best.
Yeah.
That was probably, but again, that guy's probably 1,000-aire by now, and has a very highly functioning Etsy store.
And probably.
Oh my
With all
gosh.
onions.
Bless it.
I think our universal favorite one was the guy who called in and said, I want you guys to build me an e-commerce website. I said, great. What's your product? And he says, t-shirt. I was like, great. How many SKUs do you have? I only have one. Oh, okay, cool. What's the t-shirt? He said, it's a picture of Justin Bieber. And underneath it says, I love Jesus.
You can't.
I was like,
I am clearly in the wrong business.
I love Jesus too, but can we, has Justin given you permission to
Use his
spell his likeness? No, I don't need to do that because I heard him say it once that he loves Jesus. So I'm quoting him.
Oh, bless it. But it's photo, boo.
And it's this point where I'm in the conversation, like with the butt microwave and the salt guy, I'm honestly like my first inclination, and this is a universal axiom, and I've been here, I've worked at BusyWeb for 10 years, and I still feel this way. Once I get to that point in the conversation, I think to myself, what did I do to Dave that he hired a secret shopper to test me? Because now I need to get out of this virtually. So yeah, I think the other favorite was the guy who wanted to, in 2017, wanted us to put on a rock concert with Madonna and Prince and 3 other people to promote cancer awareness, which I think is an admirable goal, but I didn't have the heart to tell him that Prince was dead.
Oh my God, I cannot right now.
And he wanted to pay for the website in monthly payments because he was having budget problems.
And Madonna.
Right.
Well, that was the thing. It was like, you guys will help me figure out how to get Prince and Madonna on stage. Once we get a great website, everything else will fall into place.
I am dumbfounded right now. Like, I am genuinely, these are the real calls you all are getting. The
Mhm.
Now,
well, you know, kudos to you all. Like, I just have to say this. Kudos to you all for not just taking the website. Like, who cares about? It's not my business to figure out how you do it. Fine, I'll throw up.
I'm gonna get the product, and I don't think I can blow it on the podcast because I don't think it's gonna work. Alternatively, Dave and I have a friend who has cornered the market on Aztec death whistles.
Interesting.
And here it is. I'm gonna hold it up to the camera. It's about the size of a fist with a skull.
Wow.
And if you blow into it, it's a whistle. It sounds like a blood-curdling woman's scream.
Okay.
So really, the first question, Liz, is you need to ask yourself is, why don't I have this already? Secondly is, where do I find it?
Was that the first question? I'm so that you helped reorder them for me.
It's Halloween.
It's on
Halloween
Amazon, and he sells literally dozens of them a week. His best-selling day, we sold 800 one day.
So help me understand, because you started this.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the function of this? Help me understand.
It's you blow it, and then it makes a blood-curdling scream like a woman screaming. And I think the original intent of it, when you were an Aztec warrior, is to frighten your enemy. So if you're in the woods and you're surrounded your enemy and you blow the Aztec death whistle, it sounds like a woman screaming. I've never understood why that would therefore be terrifying. If I'm sitting quietly and I hear a woman screaming, I'm like, okay, come get some. Because if that's the best you got, and we haven't even started fighting yet. I mean, okay. But my knowledge of Aztec weaponry and tactics is poor at best. So that's all it does is you blow it and it makes it sound like a woman's blood-curdling scream.
Yeah, but silly idea. Great execution on the sales, and he's making good money.
He's making money hand over fist.
Almost anything can make money.
That's the thing. That's such a hard call. Mm-hmm. Even some of the things that you said that have seemed silly, like that's been a challenge for me, especially we work with larger organizations, but on the smaller business side, that's always the hardest thing. Because there's some things that I see in the marketplace that I'm like, I know for a fact that if you had come to me, I would have laughed. But it's killing it. And so it's so hard to discern that. So for me, luckily on the sales side, what I tend to turn away are unrealistic revenue goals.
Yeah.
Like I know anything can go viral, but if you have no market fit and you're trying to make $1 million in 3 months, go find somebody. No, thank you. I don't want to sign up for these type of goals. Sometimes the harder ones are like, people come with ideas and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's viable or not, but here's the sales system.
Yeah,
like
right.
It is. Sell it this way and maybe you can create a market from it. But that's so hard.
Things that I say no to is if I say, who are you selling to? And if the answer is everybody, then no.
Or at least half my clients, because everybody says that.
Yeah, no, you're not selling you're not selling everybody. Then I usually follow that up by saying, unless you're food, love, or warmth, everybody doesn't need it. And then a guy who works for me, he still does. I said that in front of his presence, and after the meeting, he pulled us aside. He says, "You can buy love," and like, oh yeah, so I can't say that now. Like,
the Beatles would probably disagree, but that's okay.
You can rent it, baby. I think we're getting off topic. Liz, we got you on because you're my sales North Star. So as a parting shot here, what is the advice that you can give everybody on how to continue to persevere in the face of nonstop noise?
Systems. I talked earlier about, okay, there's business acumen. I talk about there's the skill set of how you communicate, understand human psychology, income producing activities. But we do the hard work up front, right? Business acumen, you're continually learning, but you do that hard work up front, the strategy work, so that day by day, you're just focusing on the efforts and activities, right? And I don't think sales professionals get enough credit for what I believe is like we are top performing athletes in our game day in, day out. So I think the biggest thing is that if you're having to do a lot of thinking and making a lot of decisions around your sales income producing activities, then you need a system, right? And that's what technology or processes are for, so that if it's on my calendar at this point, it's non-negotiable and it becomes discipline and less about emotion. And I think it's also important for organizations to give support. I talked to some organizations who haven't really checked in with their sales professionals for a few days. I'm like, these are the people who day in and day out are taking it to the chin. Like, yep. They need to be empowered. They need accountability. I think we are like the raggediest at admin too. Like when people are surprised, like they're not filling out the paperwork. Your best people won't. Like, choose your battle. You want them to take the action. You want them to be great at filling out paperwork, right? But I think having the processes so that they're not having to make these manual decisions. And it's like, this is my discipline. This is the rhythm. I do this consistently. And then we have the culture and processes as a team where someone's pouring into me, reviewing the deal tape, and I'm improving every day. I think that's just what it has to be.
And I think being perpetually optimistic, even in the face of abject fact failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a learned skill that you have to realize that your next sale is going to be better. And the next thing is always going to be better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's really just understanding the game. Like, I think that to not understand that is to be naive and disconnected from people who do it well. Because if you talk to anyone who's at the top of their game, literally everyone I talk to is, I'm better because I failed more than you tried.
Yep.
Like literally when I train my clients, I'm like, F it up. You haven't failed fast enough. Like, stop talking to me. You're like, oh, you're so much better at me than this. Yeah. Because I've had 1,000 times the conversations you've had. How dare you think you'd be better than me yet? Feel faster. And realizing that like you don't wake up good at this. You're committed to this and you grow and each day improves. And whether it's business or sales, if you study it, it's like investing. Stop looking at today, then look at the chart.
Yeah.
So it'll be peaks and valleys, but I'm going to keep going and I'm going to ride it out. So that's what it's about.
I had this great experience this week that really made me think of you because we have an existing client who wanted a bunch of change. And so the person that was the account manager, she put together like what she wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. And she brought it to me and she's, what do you think? And I was like, what do you think? She's like, I don't know what do you mean? What do I think? You're the expert here. And she was really bent around the axle. And finally I said to her, okay, let's put this aside. Tell me what's the worst that can happen here? And she goes, they say no. I was like, no, that's not the worst thing that can happen. We want that.
Yeah.
What do you mean we want that? And so I had to explain to her that If they say no, then that's where the negotiate. They're either going to say yes, at which point we get everything we want, they get a better everything, or they say no, and then we really start talking.
Yep.
So I literally had to explain to her what going for the no was, and a lot of people who work with me do this, which I completely understand. They roll their eyes and go, okay. Yeah.
I was blessed to have a dad that never said yes first. Like, ever.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah. I was definitely the child. I was encouraged to debate, back in the day when news was a big thing and you sit down and watch the news with your parents. Like, I was encouraged to debate and share my ideas. And if someone has a viewpoint, how do you share your viewpoint and change their mind? And so as a kid, like, I probably would have fell out if I asked my dad something. He just said yes. What helped is I built thick skin around no. No means that I haven't built my case. No means I don't know why he said no. Do you know what I mean? Like, to your point, there's work for me to do. It's not done yet, right? Yep. And it's because I'm like, why? Why no? Because of this. But what if we did this? Then this. Then I always learn, like, to your point, it's always negotiation. What are the concessions that I'm open to? Have I fostered understanding? What perspective is he coming from? And then sometimes it's legit no. But I learned from why that's a no as well. So I agree with you. I love that.
My parents, one of the best things they ever did for me was we moved to Minneapolis when I was 10. Well, we lived in St. Paul because that's different and that's better than Minneapolis. But the local newspaper in the dead of winter hides a medallion somewhere in the city and about something about the size of a hockey puck. And then every day they publish clues in the newspaper and where to get it. So my parents sat me down and explained this to me and said, if you can make a case to us to figure out of where it is, and both of us agree that you've got it, we will take off work, we will pull you out of school, and we will go look for it.
That is so freaking fun.
And what I didn't realize until considerably later in life is what they were really instilling in me was a sense of curiosity. And my goal at the time was I don't want to go to school. So I self-taught myself history. I self-taught myself linguistics. I self-taught myself puzzles. I self-taught how to construct an argument, how to make a case. And there was twice where I made the case and they pulled me out of school, took me out of work, took off work, and we went looking for it.
Man, oh my gosh. I might have to borrow that. I need my newspaper or something to do something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Dave, what have we learned today?
Wow.
Other than I want to change everything.
I'm worried about Aztec whistles and I need the link. I hope that's in the show notes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Once we turn the camera off, I'll blow the whistle for you.
Yeah, it's wild. The biggest thing in this conversation, and first, absolute ray of sunshine and positivity. And thank you, Liz, for sharing, because this is so cool, especially for a profession that, let's be honest, is hard. And to have that, to get up every day, to be willing to get kicked in the teeth because you believe in what you do and who you are and being the engine of possibility for your clients is tremendous. And I love that you've given us tools and reminders on just how to do it, how to set up a process, and how to just keep grinding until you get to big money. And that's so cool. So Liz, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. This has to be the most fun interview I've ever had. So thank you.
I'm honored.
I appreciate it.
Liz, one last question before we wrap up. Where can people find you? Because they should find you. And I can honestly say that of the 5 people that have genuinely changed my life, you're one of those 5.
Yeah, I'm honored.
Now now I got him on my case.
No, I am growing capacity to receive compliments. Like, that's an honor. They can find me on LinkedIn, Liz J Simpson. Use the J because it's so many Liz Simpsons. Branding note right there. So I am Liz J Simpson, and anywhere you would Google Liz J Simpson, you'll find me. But please let me know you came from this podcast so I can just give BusyWeb their flowers on the amazing work that they're doing, their consistency, and their reach.
Thank you for being here. So this has been another episode of Dial It In, hosted by him. His name is Dave. My name is Trygve, produced by Andy Witowski and Nicole Fairclough. with apologies to Tony Kornheiser, we will also try to do better the next time.